Occupy protests 1 month old. 2 Occupy Central organizers going back to teaching duties. And more cost overruns likely for the Express Rail Link project.
Good evening. It has been a month since the Occupy movement was launched. Demonstrators are still occupying a number of roads in Admiralty, Causeway Bay and Mongkok, despite interim court injunction orders against their action. To mark the occasion, demonstrators flocked to the Admiralty protest site this afternoon and observed a moment of silence. Crowds by the central government offices fell silent for 87 seconds. Exactly a month ago today, protesters took over some of Hong Kong's main roads, and police responded by firing 87 rounds of tear gas. They also unfurled umbrellas, a symbol of the protest movement. Addressing those gathered there were student leaders who vowed to continue the struggle. Demonstrators also marked the occasion at the Mongkok protest site. Meanwhile, Occupy Central organizers Benny Tai and Chen Kin-man, both university associate professors, say they will resume their teaching duties, but they deny their decisions signal a retreat. Joao de Silva reports.
For Benny Tai and Chan Kin-man, it's time to go back to work, and they will soon be back in the classroom. Announcing the decision, Tai said each individual's level of participation is a personal decision and that everyone has his or her own limits. He denied it signals a retreat and explained that to make adjustments according to one's life and physical and emotional conditions allows the movement itself to keep going in the long run. Joshua Wong of the student group Scholarism said the decision wouldn't have much of an impact. He added that the scholars could still join their meetings and that many more people are involved in running the protest sites.
People here seem to understand the decision by some protest leaders to resume their academic and professional responsibilities. In fact, in what is perhaps one of the reasons why 1 month into it and this movement is still going, many here claim that they themselves have tried to find a balance between their personal lives and what they see as their civic duties.
I don't think they betrayed us because they try to make back to normal. But this strike, this movement is still continuous. For myself, I'm still back to my school and continue studying. But after studying, I will come back here.
I think it is their own choices. Movements already still in our heart. But I think for most of us, even we are busy, but and last for 1 month already, it isn't easy to manage our schedule. But we still think that we try hard to squeeze our time to come here.
Earlier, protesters occupying the area outside CITIC Tower moved the barricades and their encampment to outside the Legislative Council complex on Tim May Avenue. Some who work in CITIC Tower praised the protesters' decision.
I think it's good because in any case, even if for me I don't have any problem, I think this is affect the life of other people.
The protesters called it a gesture of goodwill, which comes as a court order for the occupiers to leave the area remains in place. Joao de Silva, TVB News.
Another man has been arrested on suspicion of assaulting journalists on Saturday. It is the third arrest in connection with an attack on 4 TVB and RTHK journalists during a pro-police rally in Chim Sa Choi. The 50-year-old man, surnamed Choi, is facing charges of inflicting grievous bodily harm, criminal damage, and common assault. Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying has apologized for causing misunderstandings over his earlier remarks. In his remarks, he warned against the weight of grassroots in politics and said the sports and religious sectors had no economic contribution to society. Diane To reports.
Grassroots groups held a protest outside the CE's office this morning, criticising Leung's comments for discriminating against the poor and working class. This as the CE's remarks also drew widespread criticism from those in the sports sector over the past few days. It all began with an interview that Leung had with foreign media last week, in which he warned about the dangers of populism in an election system with civil nomination of CE candidates. He was quoted as saying, "If it's entirely a numbers game and numeric representation, then obviously you'd be talking to half of the people in Hong Kong who earn less than $1,800 a month." On Saturday, at a ceremony held for local athletes returning from the Incheon Asian Paragames, he tried to explain that it was about balanced participation. And he cited an example saying the sports and religious sectors are represented in the electoral system even though they offered no economic contribution. Speaking before the weekly Executive Council meeting, Leung said he needed to clarify what he really meant. For causing concern and misunderstanding in the grassroots sports and religious sectors, I'm sorry, Leung said. He said he was referring to balanced participation and broad representation as required by the Basic Law to reflect the social functions of different sectors in society, whether or not there are many people or much economic contribution. Diane To, TVB News.
The MTR Corporation's Independent Board Committee has released its second report on the Express Rail Link project. It's estimated there is likely to be further cost overruns and that the operation of the high-speed rail link will be delayed until November 2017. Rani Samtani has more.
The current price tag of the Express Rail Link project is $71.5 billion.
If we look at the data from a large number of similar projects around the world, 76% of projects similar to the XRL projects have budget overruns. The XRL at present has a 10% budget overruns.
Two independent experts say there is a 67% chance that the project will go over budget. This finding is inconsistent with the MTR Corporation's estimate of a 90% chance that it will stay within the budget. Analysis by the experts found that the remaining contingency funds will be exhausted before 2017. And if this is the case, the final cost would likely exceed the current estimate. The MTR Corporation previously projected that the project would be completed in 2015. The project team said there is only a 10% chance of further delays and that it is likely that the project will be completed in 2017. However, the experts now say there is a risk of delay beyond 2017. The experts explained that the delay in construction is not the result of flaws in engineering or project management, but instead it is due to a lack of adequate schedule contingency for critical contracts. The experts confirmed that flooding caused by the black rainstorm in the tunnel section of the West Kowloon terminus caused delays, but they noted that the cross-boundary tunnel is not a critical path of the project. The experts recommended a set of milestones timetable for the MTR to follow to help keep track of the progress, as well as for the MTR management to work closely with contractors and the government. Frederick Ma, chairman of the MTR Corporation's Independent Board Committee, accepted the experts' recommendations.
Their recommendations in regards to enhancing project management to de-risk the critical path contracts, enhancing budget control, enhancing reporting processes, and identifying key reporting milestones will help us to take the Express Rail Link project forward in a more transparent and timely manner.
Ma also submitted recommendations to the board of directors. He stressed the importance of actively engaging with contractors to ensure commitment to opening in 2017 and for working with the government to finalize customs, immigration, and quarantine facilities at the West Kowloon terminus. Rani Samtani, TVB News.
Police have arrested a man for allegedly living in a government storage facility. Authorities found the 47-year-old man's belongings, including a motorcycle, drums, lanterns, and mosquito coil, in the facility. They were tipped off by government workers who found the door to the facility locked from the inside. The workers had suspected there was someone stealing electricity from there. Authorities have charged the suspect with abstracting electricity. The storage facility belongs to the Highways Department and is located near the intersection of Waterloo Road and Junction Road in Kowloon Tong.
And still ahead in our newscast. Australia imposes a ban on visas from Ebola-affected countries in West Africa. A serious security breach concerning the British Prime Minister. And complaints against greenhouse minibuses up 20% in the first half of the year.
Have fun, George.
Swarms. How do you get tens of millions of individuals to work together as a team? It doesn't result in the chaos you'd expect.
We do it too. Tonight, Ultimate Swarms at 9:30 on Pearl Spectacular.
大城市車多塵多，每3個人有幾多個鼻敏感？2個。
調查發現，每3個受訪者就有2個曾經出現鼻敏感症狀。幸福為你行多步，食幸福安泰敏，舒緩鼻敏感症狀。食咗幸福安泰敏有幾多個瞌眼瞓？冇。幸福為你行多步。
Get ready for a new page in motorsport history. Welcome to Asia's most legendary race. This November, experience the Sun City Group 61st Macau Grand Prix.
轉頭先啦，轉頭先啦！仲轉頭，先施瘋狂大減價開始咗啦，仲快啲嚟掃貨！先施瘋狂大減價，約實你啦！
喺我有第2胎嘅時候，返到屋企以為自己冇事，當時我好擔心肚裏邊個 BB， 我老公即刻打俾 Louis， 佢好清楚我個 plan， 佢叫我哋放心，醫生建議嘅治療都 cover 到㗎。我好珍惜今日有嘅一切。
英國寶城用心聆聽，更知你心。
The time now is 7:42. The time check was brought to you by Seiko.
Welcome back. Australia is taking drastic steps to stay Ebola-free. It is banning visas from all Ebola-plagued regions, a move the United Nations and European Union say will only make matters worse in the fight against Ebola.
Australia announced today it will stop processing all immigration and humanitarian visas from West African nations hit hard by the Ebola outbreak.
These measures include, Madam Speaker, temporarily suspending our immigration program, including our humanitarian program, from EBV-affected countries, and this means we are not processing any application from these affected countries.
Australia's contributed millions of dollars to help fight the disease, but today's move, coupled with its refusal to send medical teams to affected regions, is being heavily criticized. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon took to blasting countries initiating Ebola travel restrictions.
They should not be subjected to restrictions that are not based on science. Those who develop infections should be supported, not stigmatized.
The Obama administration has sent thousands of volunteers to West Africa, but when pressed on whether they should be quarantined upon their return, the White House admitted it doesn't yet have a policy in place, but the rules should not hinder volunteers.
Or that whatever policies are put in place in this country to protect the American public do not serve as a disincentive to doctors and nurses from this country volunteering.
But the U.S. Army obviously doesn't agree with the Obama administration. It's already isolating all soldiers.